Ooh, child, that interview made my nerves bad, honey. If your nerves is bad and you need something to get your levels back on track, you might want to try some of these multivitamins Nutriburst. Detox with the 10, get some energy with these pills. Drop down in the description box and click the link to purchase this and other health and wellness products. Ooh, child. Did y'all catch Fox Soul's TGIF last night? If you didn't, we had Lemuel Plummer, aka Lemmy Plummer, the CEO of the Zeus Network, on our show to basically discuss the scrutiny that his network has come over, and more importantly, a couple weeks episode ago where I made the comment about being proud of him, but that his network was built on content that is trash. And boy, did things get tense. Want to talk about it? Here it go. So Nessa girl, if you missed the episode of TGIF last night, you can go on to YouTube and go to the Fox Soul webpage and look at the about 18 to 20 minute clip of the interview that we had with Lemmy Plummer from the Zeus Network. He is the CEO. Things got very interesting, and unfortunately, because in my opinion, Lemmy completely hijacked our interview, there were a lot of points that were not allowed to be made. A lot of us were not able to get our thoughts out, hence why I've had to now come over to my platform where I am in control of shit. Y'all always like to say, if you don't like it, turn the channel. If you don't like it, build your own shit. Well, I built my own shit. So now I'm on my own shit where I can say what the hell I want to say without interruption. All in all, me personally, I think the interview was a complete shit show. I think the interview was a complete shit show. Now, one thing I will give Lemmy, he's a very smart man. Very smart, very articulate, stayed on message, came to defend his brand, and he did an excellent job in doing so. But in doing that, Lemmy completely hijacked our show. You know what I'm saying? He talked and talked and talked and talked until it was time to go to commercial, which was a very smart tactic, because just as long as he's talking, nobody else has an opportunity to say anything disparaging about his network and his content. Not mad with the brother. He came on and did exactly what it is he was supposed to do. Now, what I did not like was the willful ignorance and the game of semantics that Lemmy tried to play. In particular, when he tried to flip my words and say that I was calling the viewers of Zeus crackheads. Very smart, but it ain't gonna work over here, brother. Lemmy was attempting to make the point that he provides content that people want. That the content is highly successful because people want it. I made the analogy, crackheads want crack. That don't mean we give it to them. Now, anybody with half a sense knows damn well I was not calling the consumers of Zeus crackheads. I was simply illustrating the fact that just because people want something bad does not mean you give it to them. That's the only point that I was making. Here is what I was looking for from the interview. Lemmy wanted to drive home that I call the content trash, and that's subjective. He then challenged me to quantify what makes the content trash. You know what I'm saying? Which was very smart, because to his point, it is subjective, right? And there is no tried and true way to quantify that. Not definitively. But following that logic, the notion of right and wrong is subjective as well. I don't think that there's a one person alive that would argue punching somebody in the face is right. We all know that that's wrong. And it's quantified or defined as right and wrong by what somebody's individual moral compass is and what we consider generally accepted social behaviors. For me, and I am speaking for me, the reason why I find the content on some of the Zeus shows to be trash is because they have crossed the line of what most of us have become familiar with as the line of social acceptability. All right? They crossed the line for me. All right? And my concern, not just with Zeus, but with where we are going as a society, is that the line of acceptability keeps getting pushed back further and further and further and further. The personal issue that I have with much of the most successful content on Zeus is that, in my opinion, it is successful from exploiting the lowest denominator of the culture. All right? Many people can argue that when people sign up to do shows like Jazlyn's Cabaret and the Bad Boys Club LA, that people know what they're signing up for. I don't disagree. I don't disagree whatsoever. But look at the type of people who are signing up for that. Self-respecting people with something to lose and not the people who are running over there to be on Jazlyn's Cabaret. Folks that are going places that got career jobs are not the people that are running over there to get Jazlyn's Cabaret. What it looks like, in my opinion, are people who are struggling to pay their bills and think that fame will be their way up out the hood. That's exploitation, in my opinion. Now, I may be wrong. It might be some master's degree nurses on Jazlyn's Cabaret, for all I damn know. But what do I know? Nevertheless, that bothered me. The other thing that bothered me slightly about that interview was this whole comparison about Viacom and WeTV, and that, you know, I'm a black man and I'm a CEO and I'm 36 and I sold my first show at 21. Kudos to you. None of that negates the fact that a lot of that content is built on toxicity. And what I wanted from the interview, instead of Lemmy deflecting and twisting my words, what I wanted from the interview was Q. I recognize the fact that some of the content may be more salacious than most people are used to, but that's what the audience over there wants, and that's what we give them. I can accept that. I can respect that. But to sit here and try to tell me that the sky is red when I'm obviously looking at the sky and it's blue, that's a bunch of bullshit. We not gonna sit here and pretend like those shows on Zeus are on par with the Love and Hip Hops and the Real Housewives of Atlanta. It is a false equivalency. Y'all try to make, they are not the same. Those shows on Zeus are far more toxic and far more violent than Love and Hip Hop and Real Housewives of Atlanta have ever been. As a matter of fact, their success is predicated on the violence and the toxicity. Call it what it is and stand up in it. Yes, Q, these shows tend to have a higher degree of violence and a higher level of toxicity because we are not beholden to advertisers, so we are able to be a bit more raw, uncut, and provocative. That's the correct answer. That's the non-bullshit answer. And that's the answer I can shake my head at and be like, okay, you know what? I get it. There's a market for it. You're filling the void in the market. But these false equivalencies and then this whole black man card, that was some bullshit, Lim. And on that one, I'm calling you straight out. Nice try, but that was some bullshit. And to be quite honest, in my opinion, you actually made yourself look worse, right? Because calling out the fact that you are a black man, and like I said in the interview, it bothers me even more the fact that you are a black man with your own network who has the creative range to do any and everything you want, to tell stories that have never been told in a way that has never been told before, that is raw, uncut, and equally provocative, but you go for the low-hanging fruit. I call it low-hanging fruit. You know what I'm saying? Who am I to judge? Who am I to be on my moral high horse? I'm just some little skinny gay black boy from Miami. I'm nobody. But that's just the way I feel about what it is. And quite frankly, there are a lot of people that agree. Now, I recognize the fact that we all have different moral compasses and that there are people who come from that faction of the community who like all of that. And I guess that's fine and well. Let them eat cake. If they want it, give it to them. But my problem comes in when you try to paint it as something that it is not. All right. Talking about the stories are heartfelt and so on and so forth. Well, shit, anybody would cry after they don't got the shit beat out of them on damn TV. Hell, I'd be crying too. And that was another point that I wanted to make about some of the shows. In my opinion, there's a complete absence of storytelling. You know what I'm saying? For me, it feels as if the shows are completely set up to put people in high conflict, highly tense situations to fight. All right? I have witnessed with my own two eyes when the people get to fighting, security stands there. They literally stand there and let them fight for a couple seconds before they break it up. You're not going to compare that to Housewives and to Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, because in Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, the minute somebody get up out their chair, the minute somebody starts to raise their voice, security stands up. So the fact that security stands there and lets them fight is evidentiary of the fact that they have received some sort of direction. Let them fight a little bit. Let them fight a little bit. If that's not exploitation, I don't know what is. Now, during the commercial break, and one of the things that y'all did not see, some of our offline conversation, Claudia made the comment that, Lemmy has said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that every time you watch an episode or something on Zeus, that it should be like an event. It should feel like an event. I 100% support that. I 100% think that's smart. That event just don't have to be a boxing match where Mike Tyson bites off Evander Holyfield's ear. I think that some of that content is just intellectually lazy. I think it lacks creativity. I think it appeals to the lowest common denominator of our community. And I just ask why. Now, here's what I was surprised about. Prior to the interview, I made it a point to go to the Zeus Network to see what other programming that they had, right? And I was shocked because I was prepared to come on this show and say to this man, and the only programming you got is Baddies, The Boys of LA, Jocelyn's Cabaret, One More Chance at Love, and Drea Show. That's what I was prepared to say. Surprisingly, and much to Zeus's credit, they have a whole barrage of programming. And some of it looks very interesting. The larger conversation that we've got to have as a society, and where Lem gets let off the hook, is the fact that none of the other shows bubble to the top. So what does that say about us as a society? Now, from a capitalistic standpoint, I got to give credit where credit is due. Because I don't want this to come off as an attack of Lemmy. I am proud of Lemmy. I am proud of what the brother has done. But it's capitalism at its finest. I mean, people look at the balance sheet and we see, okay, this programming over here doesn't do numbers, but this programming over here skyrockets in numbers. So from a business perspective, we need to give them this. I totally get it. I was an accountant. I know how numbers work. But where does the social responsibility come in? And I think for me, not only am I looking, me personally, not only am I looking for balance from the network, because as far as balance on the network is concerned, balance is there. Lemmy's definitely got more shows on his network that are relatively positive across multiple genres than he does the shows with the fighting and what we consider to be toxic. I have to be fair. I'm not going to lie on that man. He got a whole barrage of shows over there. Y'all should go look. But the ones that rise to the top are the ones that I consider to be toxic. So for me, the balance doesn't need to come from the additional programming, because we've already seen that people ain't watching that. The balance needs to come from within the existing programming. And I think that the compromise, or what would make me comfortable, and let me point out, who am I? I am nobody. That man don't owe me nothing. And it is not his job to curate his programming to fix my taste. I recognize that. I completely recognize that. And as a matter of fact, I get mad when y'all try to make me customizable, Dineva, and try to tell me how I should be in order to make you happy. So I completely can understand anybody's frustration with criticism of their art. I get it. I am a content creator. I get it. But for me, I think because the other programming do not get the shine that the most toxic shows do, that there is a bit of social responsibility there to dial it back. What's wrong with operating within the confines that VH1s, the Viacoms, the WeTVs do? What's wrong with stopping the people from fighting? At least attempting to stop them from fighting. From what the girls say on Jocelyn's Cabaret, they got the fighting so damn bad that they did not even get to film a reunion. There's never going to be a chance or a day in hell where you going to convince me that that's all right. And that that's right. And that that's subjective. No. A line must be drawn in the sand, y'all. And we must get back to a place in society and as black culture when we deem shit right or wrong. And some shit is just wrong. It just is. I will say Lem did a good job though. He backpedaled in Pussy Pop. And bitch, one of the highlights of the damn interview is when he changed Claudia Jordan tune and reminded her ass that she worked for him. Child, when he said that part, when he told Claudia her ass hosted one of them goddamn shows, her ass got to singing a whole nother tune. She was over there whistling Dixie. All right, and I'm probably going to get a phone call for that comment, and I'm prepared for whoever want to call and discuss it. When he reminded Claudia ass that she hosted one of them shows, Mama did an about face and started singing Dixie. I know that's right, Claudia Jordan. You better protect your future checks, honey. I ain't mad with you, girl. I'm just here to say that those sentiments and that tune of Dixie that she was singing wasn't her prior sentiments, all right? Now, y'all can look at the interview. Al was mad because he couldn't get a word in or whatever the case may be. The interview was very interesting, y'all. It was very interesting. All in all, I will say this. You know, Lem was walking into what some may deem a hostile situation, and he had to be on the defense. And he came well prepared. I always have respect for smart people. I like being around smart people. There's nothing more than I like to sit down and have challenging, riveting conversation with smart people. I wish that the interview would have been that, because that is what my intention was for it, for going into it. I think the interview took a turn, at least for me, when Lemmy started playing the game of semantics and twisting my words and over talking all of us and not giving us a chance to speak. At that point, that's where things went left for me. And I realized, okay, this conversation is not going to be fruitful, because Lemmy is on the defense, and rightfully so. He should be. And he is here to stay on message and to protect his brand and to not let us trash and disparage his brand. And I totally respect all of that. Maybe there will be a day where we can sit down without the confines of commercials and too many cooks in the kitchen and have a full-on, robust conversation, and not just about Zeus. Because I don't want this to be a personal attack against Lemmy, because it's not. again, after talking to the brother, I actually like him a lot. I actually respect what it is he's been able to accomplish at such a young age. But what I will not stand by is y'all doing this whole thing about tearing down a black man. White people never do this. White people talk to you, they don't do this. Miss me with that. Since when have white people been the barometer of anything socially acceptable and or just? That's number one. And I also think too, just because you're black doesn't mean you're above reproach and correction. All right. And when I see something that's wrong or that I feel is wrong, I'm going to speak on it. All right. I am going to speak on it. So in closing, just so y'all can know where my mind is with things and how I feel, and to be succinct, here are my closing thoughts. Just because it is subscription-based TV and that you are not beholden to advertisers, which means that you do not have to adhere to the same standards of conduct and behavior that you would on a big network, does not mean you have free reign to just go out there and do whatever the hell you want to do and exploit the lowest common denominator of our culture. There is a thing called social responsibility, and we all have one. To whom much is given, much is required. So Lem, you did it. We got it. We've seen it. What's next? How are you going to make it better? How are you going to offset the fighting with more storytelling? Because those girls and those guys have stories to tell that transcend somebody whooping somebody's ass. The story that I want to know is, how did you become a damn stripper? The story I want to know is, why is your ambition to continue to be a stripper? Those are all stories that are worth telling, not just diddling and dabbling on, then exploiting the fact that a bitch had an abortion with 2 twins. Now let's fight about it. You know what I'm saying? That's my thing. So to each his own. At the end of the day, folks gonna watch what they want to watch. That man gonna run his company the way he want to run his company. These are my 2 cents and my decompression of the interview from last night. Like it, love it, it don't matter. I said it. It is what it is. And in the words of Sheree, who gonna check me, boo? Y'all be good. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll call y'all later. Bye.